What is up, Outlaws? Once again, Michael or Legacy Kill HD once again discussing Red Dead Redemption 2 or Red Dead 3, or if you just want to call it the next Red Dead game. And today we're going to be discussing some of the latest reports, while also discussing some of the biggest topics that have been going throughout the Red Dead community. But as I say in every single Red Dead video, make sure you check out the playlist. A lot of news and information that you're not going to want to miss about this upcoming Red Dead title. Now, our first topic is actually about the reveal of the next Red Dead title. There's been some rumors floating on Reddit about maybe the PlayStation experience, which is another PlayStation event taking place from December 3rd to the 4th. And the only real reasoning why some think that this event may be the reveal of the next Red Dead game is being the fact that Mafia 3 will be out around 2 months, and there really isn't any other games that Take-Two has under their belt that could get impacted by this next Red Dead game being announced there. But I don't think it's going to be announced there at all. I just think that that would not make much sense. I mean, we've already gone through E3, Gamescom, and even the PlayStation meeting. If it was going to be announced, it would have already been announced. I think Rockstar Games is going to hold to their guns, do it exactly how they did with GTA 5. I said this a couple times now, but it will be announced probably on their newswire. It'll be out of the blue. Nobody will expect it. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think Rockstar Games will be announcing it like how they did with GTA 5 on their newswire, or do you think they're going to be announcing it at one of these upcoming gaming events, such as this PlayStation experience or even the Video Game Awards, which I believe are also in December? Now to our next topic, which is probably the biggest part of this video, and that is the idea of the next Red Dead game being centered on the online multiplayer or the story mode. I was surprised to see that there is a very differing view throughout the community right now that a lot of people want to see the next Red Dead game being centered on the multiplayer, while there's also a large chunk of people, one of those being myself, that want to see the next Red Dead game being centered on the single player story. But before we discuss this, I want to put a Twitter poll up. I want to know what you guys think, so make sure you go check out the link in the description to this poll. Let me know, what do you think the next Red Dead game will be centered on? Now, within Rockstar Games, there was pretty much 3 people that controlled everything. It was Leslie Benzies and the Hauser brothers, Sam and Dan. And we all know that Leslie Benzies is suing Rockstar Games and the Hauser brothers right now for $150 million, a very messy situation. But even in his lawsuit, he states that the Hauser brothers are pretty much writers. That's all they do, and he was pretty much handling all the technology stuff. And he actually also writes about how Red Dead Redemption was a mess of a game, and when he came in, he's pretty much sorted it out. And ironically enough, there are some former Red Dead Redemption developers who bring up the fact that the coding within the game is such a mess that a remaster would be pretty much impossible, being that they would have to rewrite the game from scratch, which kind of goes with what Leslie Benzies was saying, that the game was a mess and they barely were able to achieve the launch. Now, why do I bring up this whole mess with Leslie Benzies? Well, this will be the first Rockstar game title without his involvement since 2000. So this will be our first look from Rockstar Games to see what type of direction that they're headed for, and that very much could be a heavy online multiplayer, or it could be the opposite where the story mode is the center point. Now, involving this next Red Dead title, this all worries me because of the fact that a lot of people miss the point about Red Dead Redemption. The thing that made this game so unique was the characters, the story, and even the setting. And as we move on and look forward to this upcoming title, a lot of us want to see something similar to that. I get that the multiplayer is something that a lot of Rockstar Games fans strive on. I know there's a strong GTA Online community, but there's also a community that love the stories that Rockstar Games have created in the past, such as the stories of Carl Johnson within GTA San Andreas and Nico Bellic within GTA 4, and obviously the notorious outlaw John Marston within Red Dead Redemption. These are the stories that shaped up Rockstar Games. Now, when Grand Theft Auto 5 launched, a lot of us expected something to the same degree that we got with some of their past works, but what we got was something different. It was a game that felt like the story was a second-hand experience and the multiplayer was their center point. It was the main attraction that Rockstar Games wanted to emphasize, and now here we are in 2016, they're still making DLC content, but the single player has received nothing. And there's been some rumors and reports stating that there was some single player content that was planned, but it was cancelled, being the fact that GTA Online was so successful. That's why all of this gets me a little bit worried about the future direction of Rockstar Games. In a perfect world, we would have a 50-50 line where the online and story mode receive equal amounts of content, but that's not the world we live in. Rockstar Games is probably trying to make as much money as they can while using as little money as they can. And I'm very much interested in seeing if the Leslie Benzies departure means anything for these future Rockstar Games. If he was really the technology guy, does this mean that the next Red Dead game will be more centered on the story, being that the Hauser brothers are known for their writing? But this is definitely one of my biggest worries, and I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below, and also check out that Twitter poll once more. Let me know what you think. Do you think the next Red Dead game really should be going down the road of sticking to the online multiplayer, or should it be sticking to the story, which made some of these past Rockstar games what they are to this day? Nonetheless, Outlaws, we're going to move on to the next part of this video where we discuss once more some of the things that we want to see included in this upcoming Red Dead title, and we'll start off with our main protagonist and the possibility of him or her being a former lawman gone outlaw. Reading through a lot of the comments, I can see there's a lot of people discussing what type of character we could be getting. There's some that say maybe we get a Native American character, which I definitely think is certainly possible, and there's a lot that say they just want to see another outlaw similar to Landon Ricketts or even John Marston. But I want to introduce the idea of maybe our main character being a lawman that has the choice choice of being good or bad. Someone who is ruthless and aggressive and takes no survivors and robs banks and does whatever they want, or maybe somebody who is compassionate and they got dragged into a lifestyle that they did not want, or maybe someone who got tired of being a lawman serving a corrupt government and thinks it's time for change. And within the real Wild West, there are numerous outlaws that began their lives as lawmen and ended up living their lives as outlaws, such as Bert Alvord, who served as a law enforcement officer for numerous years until he turned in his badge after his father's death and began living a life as an outlaw. Now to our next topic is treasure hunting and how it could be improved. One of the pleasant surprises within Red Dead Redemption was hunting for treasure. It was always intriguing getting a map and getting a lump sum of gold, but as we move on to this next Red Dead title, I'm hoping that they improve on the loot and maybe give us a more variety, such as maybe even getting some type of unique weaponry or outfits or even special abilities. I think that would be a really cool feature that Rockstar games could include. And also, as all the treasure were based on real people, such as Tubman's treasure being Harriet Tubman and Jackson's treasure being Andrew Jackson, and I would enjoy Rockstar games going down that road once more and adding certain famous people of the time and giving them unique weaponry, maybe Jesse James revolvers or Teddy Roosevelt swords or even Robert E. Lee's repeater, maybe making random weaponry and adding their name and maybe adding certain special abilities to the weapon. I think that'd be a very fun feature that Rockstar could include. And to the last topic of the day, and that is what the next Red Dead game should be inspired by. Now with this upcoming game, a lot of us already have been discussing how a Native American influence will be heavy in this upcoming game. A lot of us expect some type of conflict, maybe even being with settlers or outlaws, and that's why I hope that maybe they go down the road of drawing the game's inspiration from Dances with Wolves, which is a Western film based in 1864 following the story of Lieutenant John Dunbar, who is exiled to a remote Western Civil War outpost, and he ends up befriending wolves and Indians. But I will avoid spoiling the movie for you if you've never seen it. It's a great story, you should check it out if you have not. There's a reason why it won 7 Oscars, but I would love to see if the next Red Dead game could draw any inspiration from that phenomenal masterpiece. But anyway, Outlaws, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you smack that like button if you did enjoy the video or found any informative value. Also, drop down in the comments, tell me what your thoughts are on the topics that we discussed today, and also consider subscribing for a lot more additional Red Dead content to come, and I'll see you later.
Wake up in the morning, drop a big old log out here. You ain't got time for nothing fruity like a jog. Marry a fat bitch and die working like a dog.